Hi there, gang. Steve Jensen, Dr. J from the National Sales Academy and Impact Training. And guess what? Today we've got a special treat. I've actually invited Oksana to come on and share some of her, how can we say, strategies and also some opportunities that we were actually discussing just the other day. This woman has been in business for over 17 years and she runs a company, the CEO of Impero. Now, this is a business that specializes in engagement and strategies for businesses to not just market to people, but also to engage, keep clients, give them value, and also make sure that they're known. So welcome, Oksana. Great to have you on board.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you.
Look, I'd love to start with just a couple of simple questions so people find out a little bit about you and what Impero is and what it does. So why don't you give us a quick overview of what Impero does?
We are a promotional product company, but this is just little part of what I do. But I actually help companies to use promotional product as a tools to create brand engagement and stay top of mind. So when time comes, people choose you to do business with, to remember, and why it's important. So you have an opportunity to make more sales than your competition by simply staying top of mind.
Look, that's a topical conversation right now because, you know, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of things have changed. And a lot of people are going to damage control and so forth and saying, well, gee whiz, you know, a lot of things have changed as far as revenues are concerned and things that they can do. They're going to have to tighten their belts and so forth. But one thing is for sure. The most important thing is to be front of mind with your existing clients, also front of mind of your prospects, because one of the worst things that people could do, and I'll just give you a heads up with everybody, guys, you don't want to stop talking to the people that are prospective clients now. Because once everything is back to, let's say, the new normal, and you then start to market to them, they're just going to say they want to sell you something. So I know, Oksana, when we were talking just the other day, you had some perspectives that you were shifting. I'd love you to share some of the ideas that we had there before we get into some strategies, which are really low cost and easy to do that you've shared with me too. So let's share with our team and our tribe. What are some of the perspectives that you've actually shared with me the other day? Because they were absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Steve. It is an interesting situation that we are in. It's very different from what we were in 2 weeks ago. And it would be different in another 2 weeks, 2 months. We can choose to panic, time to plan, to connect with our customer, suppliers, employees. I actually make a list here what this current situation actually gives, because a lot of people talking about what we can't do. And Steve, you always talk about, let's just not focus what we can't do. Let's focus on what we can do. Let's control what we can control. So the little list that I made, and it's back to what's this situation giving us. And you might, guys, want to get a piece of paper and write, because numbers might be different from person to person. But if you just look at the biggest gift from my perspective we got some extra time. And you might ask me, well, what do you mean we got extra time? Just write down how much time you used to spend to travel to your workplace. I don't know. Some people spend, 2 hours every day. So here's 10 hours. If you spend an hour traveling, this is 5 hours. Then how much time you used to spend to get ready to go to the office, right? Some people who are fast and having a shower and dressed up, some people might take an hour to iron the shirt and do your hair. So we don't travel, so we don't spend the money we used to spend on petrol, on public transport, on parking, on dry cleaning, on entertainment. So if you, I don't know, you do your numbers and see what you get, and suddenly everyone, because we're all on the same boat, we have a first time ever the opportunity to have a conversation and connect with the client in a really meaningful way, because they're not rushing to another meeting. Their clients also have extra time. So I look at it how we can, you know, refocus, rethink, and use next 90 days to plan, to communicate better, to connect, rather than panic and do nothing or complain about it. So this is just my sort of view of the current new norm. And it also teaches us to be in the present. And I practice yoga for 11 years. And this is what yoga teaches you. Whatever happened yesterday, it's past. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The only thing that we have, it's now. So if we just, now it's a great opportunity to practice yoga, not on the mat, in real life. And I'm grateful for that.
Look, I really like that sort of way of thinking. Time is something that we've all not had much of. Everyone says they're busy. It's almost a cliche these days. I'm busy. Now we're busy doing other things now, and a lot of us are, you know, ducking and weaving for cover and say, well, look, gee whiz, I'm having to learn a whole lot of new stuff and I'm now busy and so forth. But if we actually make a bit of a plan, I know that I'm usually very busy, but I have had to start to strategize what I do every day now, just to say, well, what am I going to spend time doing? Now, there are new things that I'm learning how to do, like, and also there are some other things that I don't have to do anymore. It doesn't take me 2 hours to get backwards and forwards from the airport and so forth. And I think what you've said is a really great idea, because if we get front of mind with our existing clients and also our prospects, it allows us to have them think about you if they need your product or service. So I know that we were talking about some other things for cost saving some costs. And I thought that your perspective was quite good, because if we look at the value of a client, an existing client, usually we give them great service, don't we? And we over deliver, under promise, all the cliche stuff that people talk about. But I think you really put it into a different perspective of, hey, hang on a tick. What are we not spending money on? I think you said parking. You also said saving time on driving, but also petrol. We're not spending petrol and maybe airfares. There were some other things that you were talking outside the box a little bit. I'll just get you to rattle a few of those off, because I think it's going to put a little pot of gold where we can actually spend that saving, even though we might need it. But don't forget, we still have to be in business. What can we do with a little pot of gold to actually engage with our clients and our prospects to actually make sure that when we come out of this, we're still front of mind? So just to rattle off a few of those, because I thought they were really clever.
Great question, Steve. So we all know that it takes, you know, nowadays you need to see the message or see the brand about 20 times before people buy. It used to be 7, now it's 20, right? So you require time to sort of, you need time to make these 20 impressions, right? So now it's the opportunity to do so. Like, I'm busy writing, you know, thank you cards and sending my clients little gifts saying, you know, we got through it, stay safe, stay positive. I love this quote. It says that people forget what you said, people forget what you did, but they never forget how do you make them feel. And it's really because everyone is actually suddenly become more human. So I would encourage people, use this opportunity to connect with their clients, to become more personal, to find out what their really needs are. I got 37 pages document in the last week. It started with 1 page where I literally interviewing my clients and asking them the question to get to know them. The questions that I have never time to ask before. So from one page, I got to 37 pages. And I'm not talking about, oh, you know, this person is 40 years old and he makes 120,000 and he got 2 kids. I'm talking about, you know, what sport do they like? What's the favorite place, you know, to travel? Do they like Japanese, or do they prefer? Because you can use this information as a marketer. This is gold, you know, because you connect with people. A lot of time people think that we connect with each other. If I only put my logo on the product, this will create brand awareness, possibly. But I'm not interested in brand awareness. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be my brand be over there. I want the people be over here. So we need to create brand engagement. And how do we do that? Steve, you always teach and train people and always cover this topic. How do we get them to switch from red brain of numbers and not making decisions to the green brain of emotions? So the clever marketers, they know how to not just give umbrella with your logo and think, oh, this is, you know, they should love me, or it means something. But imagine you sending them tickets to their favorite, I don't know, football game that the team that they follow, or you send them a gift and wrap it in their favorite color, or, you know, it's many examples. Or, you know, one of my clients speak Italian. I went to the shop and I find the card in Italian. You know, this is, and the response you will, what will encourage you, it's the response that you will get from your clients. And it's a ripple effect. It will make you feel good because you know that you just added value.
So I really love what you just said there. Instead of just sending them something that we send to everybody, what you're doing is you're saying, well, gee whiz, that Italian person would appreciate a card in Italian. And then you say, well, I'm not just going to send everybody an umbrella. If I know that person loves this type of football and you can get some tickets to the football, that's a gift. Like you would buy a gift for a birthday present, you would give them something that you thought of. In other words, people are getting endeared from that. That's a really nice way of doing it. And this is a good time to actually find that out, and going through and doing we call them a wow call. They actually say, well, let me ask you some questions which are a little bit left field. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And then, by the way, and I'm sure you're doing this, when you ask them a question that's a little bit personal, what's your favorite football team? And they might say this team. I said, oh my goodness, my one's this. Then you share a bit of you, and that makes you, I think you said it earlier, you're humanizing the whole process. It's not about the brand. It's like it's the human behind the brand, and having the opportunity to have that. Now you share what's your favorite color. Mine's purple. Oh my goodness. And if it's true, you say mine is too. You don't make a fib up. But I think they're great ideas to be able to use the time productively to having, let's say, engagement, not just to understand the logo, but to understand the human being. That's terrific. Well, these sorts of things are, people say, oh, gee, that's just simple. But it takes someone that lives in this world to be able to do that. Now, I want to just digress here a little bit, and I want to ask you a question. You talked about brand engagement and all about engaging with a brand. What's your definition of a brand engagement? And also, what type of plan should we have to engage someone to a brand?
It's a good question, Steve. Brand engagement, if you put yourself, if you were your client, right? We always focus on us. But if you just turn the table around and you say, if I'm the client and I need to make decision, you know, from choosing these 10 companies to do my finance or do my financial planning or do my whatever service you provide. Think from the client point of view, how does your company stand out? And would you choose you? And if you would, why? Because a lot of time we market to at them. We market at the people, but if engagement, they only choose you if you have an engagement with them. So sending Christmas cards, like I'm a strong believer, obviously you can hear from my accent, I'm Russian background, and I do everything opposite to everyone else do. I never send Christmas cards to my clients because guess what? Everyone else send the Christmas card to the client. I don't want my card to be lost in the pile of other cards that was printed on a computer, just name change. It means nothing, it creates nothing. The money is spent. They spend the money, but emotional connection or brand engagement did not happen. So when I'm sending, people now, I might show you actually. I created this tape measure. We got the branding there, and it's actually meter and half. So, and in the current situation, we need to stay meter and half from each other. So I send it to the clients with a message saying, look, hope you're safe. And here's a little tool that help you to be safe and healthy. You can't imagine how many people call me. And you know what, in all honesty, it's cost you a few dollars. It's cost you less than have a cup of coffee with your client. So this is a great opportunity. And guess what? When this situation is over, Steve, you always talk about it. This is what people will remember. So if you freeze your business and put it on hold for the next 90 days, when you come out of, back to business, if you do nothing, you really would be behind. So I would say I'm more busy than I was 2 weeks ago. It's a great opportunity to actually create brand awareness. Now you're having Zoom calls with 20 people on a Zoom call, and I have 3-5 calls like this a day. I have an exposure suddenly of my brand to 3-5 times more people than I normally do. And this is why I encourage people, don't start with yourself. Because we work from home, and does not mean, Steve, you turn up at 7:30 your Facebook training for your club, you dress up in a suit, right? So you didn't turn up in your pajamas and say, oh, hello guys, I'm just going to give you a couple of tips how to start with you. And now we are they call it in marketing, lipstick economy. It means that all the little things become meta.
Look,
So
what you've just said there is absolutely critical, Oksana. Guys, I hope you've taken note here. All the little things matter. When you're actually on a Zoom, you can muck up a Zoom and, you can have some, technical failures, but it's the little things that matter. And I think what Oksana has just alluded to, and it's also in the sales cycle, it is unforgiving if you are not prepared. Being well prepared for your Zooms and your presentations, or even just your chit chat, you have to be well prepared. And as Oksana just said, make sure that you're looking professional, not like you just got out of bed. All right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
And a lot of people, like, you have an opportunity, to put your branding at the back, so people will, it's subconscious messages. Like, this is my notes for our meeting, right? So every meeting I have, don't just turn up and say, oh, tell me about you. Spend 15 minutes to research the person, to research the business, to find out what the problem. So while you're having the conversation, you don't spend 15 minutes, tell me about you. Because I think in current situation, any situation, it's a little bit ignorant. You turn up and say, tell me about you. Everyone on LinkedIn, you can do research, you can find out a lot about people, and you literally can do it in 10 minutes. I'm not talking about go to the library and, spending days and researching like we used to do at school time in Russia. I'm talking about you literally can find out he's been with the company for this long. Before that, he used to be in this company. Oh, by the way, we used to supply this company. So back to your, Steve, topics. Oh, isn't it interesting? I used to work there as well. So you find more things in common. It's a difficult word to pronounce. Find more things in common, and this is again what help us to make a sale.
That's right, and it's so true. One of the things that you do for your front of mind activities and your engagement, you engage people for, let's say, brand awareness, but know the human being. Everything that you've ever shown me, Oksana, and other clients that you've shown me, you've shown them, has always had an outcome base. I recall when we actually got our pens organized. I said, my old pens had a big logo on it. You said, Steve, no one wants to see the logo. They want a quality pen, so they'll use it all the time. Let's have a color that it's connected to your brand, but let's make sure it's a stainless steel, not a piece of plastic. You don't need the logo. And it was actually, what do you want them to actually feel? I said, I want quality. You say, well, the plastic pen doesn't give you quality. Get rid of the logo and just put your, let's say, if you see our pen, we've just got our web address. You said, this will give you a better ROI because they say, oh, I can go and have a look more. You also were telling me that when it comes down to any type of, let's say, merchandise, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it just has to match the quality and what the, let's say, the things you're wanting to project as a brand. So don't do things that are super cheap just to get it out there. I was wondering if you would give us a couple of ideas of just maybe say, a front of a mind activity, so your brands. And so let's say one idea of that, and maybe one idea in marketing that would engage someone to make an inquiry. Because I know you have so many ideas. When we talk, we regularly come up and brainstorm some stuff, but the stuff that comes out of your mouth is gold. So I was wondering if you got just one idea or for one and another idea, and give our team what sort of things they could do.
Sure. So I always ask the client, describe your brand in 3 words, right? So, and people might say, oh, we're creative, or we're innovative, we're reliable, and we're quality. And then I'll invite them to bring everything they give out. And it might be a brochure. If they have a uniform, I said, let's invite staff to see how they look. When you give out your promotional product, because I never look at the promotional product like a giveaway. I don't want to give anything away. Why would I? If we're not getting some sort of return, what's the point? So, growing up in Russia, I have to learn to be very resourceful because there was a lack of resources. So, and I believe it's never lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. So when you give something out, it's not random. So take a look at your brochure, take a look at your business card, take a look at the umbrella you give out, and ask yourself, does this represent innovation? Does this represent creativity? Does this represent, because this is the product you give out, whatever it is, this is a tool. So, and it's nothing, I never talk about budget, because you can create something amazing with $10 if it's been done properly and thoughtfully, or you can spend $100 and waste it. Like if you send in French champagne, do you think it's a good gift? A lot of people say, yes, it is. But what if you're not a drinker? This has become actually negative experience gift, because you just told me that you don't really know me. So in this case, better to do nothing.
I'm just going to interrupt you there. That was absolute a piece of gold, because I'm not a drinker. And I get some beautiful bottles of wine. I'm uneducated about them. I don't know that this date is terrific. And people say, wow, look at that lovely bottle of wine you have there. I said, well, and a lovely bottle of champagne. Well, I think you just said that the person that sent it to me doesn't know me. And I think that's a piece of gold that everyone needs to know. In other words, don't just send out things willy-nilly. Actually, in some cases, if it's going to be an expensive gift, make sure that it's something that they would want and appreciate. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And, I'm very creative. So I always would like to not just give the product, like this tape measure, that meter and half, without the message, it's got no meaning, no relevance, no emotion. But I connect it to the current situation. It's meter and half. I make a little note. It cost me a couple of dollars. So everything you give.
So you get a bulky mail activity, whatever it may be, and it's the note that goes with it that actually gives the engagement. So it has a little story. It doesn't have to be big. It just actually has a little a note that goes with something that goes out in the mail. Because bulky mail has it's people think it all online stuff is what they should be doing. It's easy to do, and it almost comes across as lazy these days. But when you receive something in the mail, just a card and a Freddo Frog or whatever, it means that you've actually done something that's a little bit different. But there's a little note that goes with it that's personalized, I take it.
Absolutely. And Steve, you give us at the last Self-Authority Club event that we had. This probably was the last event before where we could all get together. When you give everyone an envelope and the chocolate, and people actually sit down and spend a few minutes to write the note, the simple note of appreciation, it's very easy to do. But as they say, what's easy to do, easy not to do. And remember yourself, like these little things, and bulky mail. Wow. Now everyone at home, send your employees little packages saying, listen, keep safe. We will go through it. Enjoy. And you might send them like beautiful tea or some chocolate if they like chocolate. Everyone like more chocolate, I think, this current situation, or more wine, wherever they were having a little bit of, now they're having a little bit more. And it's okay. We're human and we need to do whatever make us feel happy.
Look, you do this brilliantly. Let me share something with everybody. I'm just going to share something. I received this at downstairs at our concierge. I said, Steve, you've got a little bag. A little bag? It's a pretty big bag. This was a bag, and let me show you what happened. And by the way, this lady actually walks or talks. Got some tissues. Look at that. Big box of tissues. I went, gee whiz, that's pretty hard stuff to get these days. That's pretty nifty. And then I got this. If I have tea, she actually tells me I drink too much coffee. She knows, though, that I do like the old peppermint tea. And it's my favorite brand, Twinings. I said, oh my goodness, how nice is that? But even more. It was very clever. Everyone's got to wash their hands, don't they? And it says on here, it says, do it head to toe and making sure that you're going to keep that. It's an urban mess at the moment. It's just a little bit of fun, but guess what? I'm going to use that. But I went, oh my goodness, what else have we got here? We got some wipes. Scarce as hen's teeth. I said, my goodness, this is like a little survival packet. And then the thing that actually blew me away was a wonderful salt lamp. Now I've got a couple of these and I love them. It's got a lovely glow of pink or red or orange, depending on the type of salt, Himalayas salt, and it purifies the air. Yeah, it's really terrific. You can leave them on all the time. I said, wow. And I said, and it's just, you just plug it in, it stays on all the time. And the last thing here was just to top it off. I've got some only good it's body wash. Make sure you keep nice and clean. It's always better, always all natural, because she's always into natural stuff. And it came in a lovely red. And have you noticed she's wearing red? Yes, this is the branding. So every time I go and have a bit of a wash and I have a little rope on a soap, which I don't normally buy, I think, Impero. I have my cup of tea. Oh, isn't that nice of Oksana to get me off the coffee? And guess what? When my little red lamp is on, what will I think about? Where did it come from? See, this is actually walking the talk. This is a surprise and delight process. Now, we are good friends and so forth. She probably put a couple of extra things in there for me, but at the end of the day, just one or two of them would have been plenty. That's, I just wanted to show you what you can do. And, this would have taken a bit of time and thought. But if you actually just sent the tissues and the soap, or if you just send the soap, or just the hand wipes in a little envelope with a card, thinking about you. Stay safe.
Definitely.
So well
Thanks,
done.
Steve. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm glad you enjoy it. Yeah, and you know, this is the research that, you know, I get to know you, what you like. So everything that in the package, and I'm saying, you know, separate your client. I'm not suggesting that you go and overspend in this current situation or ever, but we separate our clients. Like I said, it's economy class, business class, and first class. So if this is you, and you would know what's the value of this client. Imagine, and it's, you know, 20% of your clients give you 80% of the program. Just focus on 20. You can't focus on 20, focus 20%, focus on 20 clients. Who are the people that if they leave you tomorrow, your business would be gone? And how much would you pay to get them back?
Oh, say that again, Oksana. That's terrific. You're correct. At 20% of your clients will usually give you 80% of your revenues. But give me that little quote again at the end.
So if you take this 20% of your client, right, and you just, people say, I deliver great service. Great service is given. You go to the hairdresser, you expect, you know, they're not going to cut your ears. They give you a good service. And this is what you pay the money for. So, but I'm talking about how do we look after the clients and connect with them. So if we take this 20% of your gold clients, this is your first class clients, and you do nothing, and imagine if they leave you, would you have a business? And most likely, I ask this question a lot of people, and most likely they say, of course not. So how much would you spend to get them back if they left you? People can't even think of what this number is. And everyone knows what's the customer acquisition. Would you take your every potential client for coffee? If the answer is yes, this is your minimum $10. So I can show you how to use this $10 that's gonna last you for them remember you for a month. So it's like 20 cents a day. Would you spend 20 cents a day to be top of mind? This is
everyone would say absolutely, and I think you put it in a great context. We can't go out for coffee. Would you buy lunch for your let's say one of your clients? The answer is yes. Would you buy them a coffee? The answer is yes. So would you do that once a month? The answer might be yes. Now you have a process called Surprise and Delight, and you certainly do that. You walk the talk. So if someone wanted to have something like that and do a little bit of a, let's say, a strategy, a plan.
Everything in marketing, like we have a digital, and you do digital marketing, and then you have a salespeople coming to see the client, and then what's the activity? So we'll look at 12 months of your relationship with the client, and we're saying, okay, this is a standard touch points. Your salespeople go to see them every quarter, like you said, Steve, or every month. This is a standard, or they receive email from us every second week. Or we have Black Friday sale once a year. Okay, what can we do in between 3 times a year? Something that they did not expect, something that's gonna give them, wow. Because when we give them wow, we're actually giving them the tools to go and talk about us, about experience to other people. So suddenly you're giving the tools to your client to actually market you. And I always love to share this story. I met this guy, John Dwyer, and some of you guys might know John Dwyer. He's from Brisbane. He's got Academy of Wow. So he's a marketer with, I don't know, 40 years experience. And he's telling this story. He came from Brisbane and he stayed in a hotel. He checked into his room. And then there was a knock on the door. he opened the door and he was the hotel staff, and they were standing with a tray, and on the tray they had strawberries and chocolates. And the room service person say, dear Mr. Dwyer, it's another 772 hotels in Sydney that you could choose to stay. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. And normally if we're face to face in this moment, a lot of people go, oh, so nice, amazing. And then I say, of course it didn't happen. Of course it did not happen. This is just a story. But this is just give you the example. Imagine if it did happen. How much do you think it's cost for hotel to deliver this wow experience to the client? You know, strawberry will cost them, I don't know, $1. They have staff, they have trays, they have room service. It's no extra cost. But, you know, we have to be prepared. We have to train our staff to ask questions that engage with the client, not when you're walking in the hotel and reception asks you the most stupid question they could, I think. They ask you, are you checking in? Sometimes I make a joke. I say, no, I'm here to play golf. So it's, of course, they could ask the other question that create connection, or they can just, and Steve, you share amazing experience that happens just with you recently with one of the hotels that you stay. And you already told me, I already told people. So look what's happened when we add extra value.
So I think that what you're talking about here is thinking outside the box and adding value. One of the things though that we want to do that, and when we hear it from an expert like yourself, oh, that's a great idea, we could do that. But I think what you started with is critical. Guys, you get your pen out. What you need to do is have a plan. And I think Oksana said 3 times a year. You might do it twice. What are you going to do to create that experience of, let's say, care? Now, what can you do now? What can you do right now to actually get out there and do something a little bit different for your prospects, but also your clients? It might just be not selling them something, but it could just be something that would say, hey, you might just, oh, we got some wipes, pop it in a envelope and say, hey, stay safe, stay clean, and let's clean up when the boom is ready to rock and roll. So talk to you soon. And always write a PS in the note, guys. I always recommend this. Get your trusty pen out, put a PS. Now let's say we all know Oksana has told you she loves yoga. You say, well, I hope you're keeping up your yoga. Stay flexible or whatever. And have a little bit of something. So as I said, just buying those, send it out to your clients with a little note. Is that the type of thing we're talking about, Oksana?
Absolutely, yes. And I created actually, because I understand not everyone creative. People are in different industries. So I research, I live it, I educate myself. I'm a marketer with a sales background. So I don't look at it, oh, this is sales, this is marketing. The only purpose of any marketing, the only purpose, it's only one purpose, it's generate sales. It's kind of ironic how in some companies they have sales team and then they have a marketing team with a different budget, with a different, they like live in the different worlds. And as a result of that, and I think it's crazy, because the reason they're there is to satisfy the customer. And salespeople will have more data about your customer because they're doing face-to-face. Marketing, it's one-to-many. Sales, it's one-on-one. So use your sales team as resources to collect the data. So you create, when you put an event together, you don't want to be the marketing people who give some stuff to the salespeople and salespeople go, oh, look at this stuff. I'm not going to give it to my client. These marketing people have no idea. So how do we stop it? And I created, for those who are not creative, back to my point, is I created ebook with the 52 ideas on how to make your message stick, similar to, you know, the tape measure or whatever. We're sending them little graters now for the kitchen. You grate your cheese, and it's set of 4. And I'm sending it out because I said, look, looks like we're going to be spending more time in the kitchen. Here's a little tool. Get creative, right? And people go, wow, we love it. So if you guys would like some of the ideas how use bulky mail, because bulky mail has 100% opening rate. So if you find the person who received the box or package and did not open it, please call me. I've been asking this question for 17 years and nobody called me saying, look, I got a box, I didn't open it.
so Oksana, are we saying that if the people that see this video, can they get in contact with you and maybe have a little bit of a planning session, and you maybe share with them some of those 52 ideas that they could maybe put into practice, and maybe surprise and delight people with ideas like that? Because I know for a fact if I come up with these great ideas in the shower or whatever, but that's probably the only place. People like yourself come up with them regularly. Could they get in contact with you?
Yes, definitely. I would love that. I remember when I met Gary Vee. He's my hero. He's a marketing guru with 7 million followers. And he said, guys, ideas like push-ups, everyone knows that we should do them, but not really many of us do. So the beauty of our business, it's not just we have an idea, we can actually help you to implement it, to get it all done for you. So if someone interested, I'm happy to share my ideas. I don't have, you know, fear of holding them. I have so many, I'm happy to share. And if anyone interested to have the session with me on the strategy, on how we can help you to create this engagement with your customer, with your employees, with your suppliers, I am happy to do that. I have developed my own 6-step methodology. Actually, how do you create that? Because a lot of people start with a product, and I always say it's market before the product. So my methodology, it's like a diagnostic. You don't go to doctor, and doctor doesn't just give you a box of pills and say, oh, you take one of each for the next 2 weeks and see how you go. So they ask you a series of questions to help him to give you the right tablet. And the tablets itself, it's irrelevant. It might be powder, it might be yellow color, it might be take once a week, or it might take once a month. So we're doing the same, because we got 20,000 products. And for me to say, oh, Oksana, what's the right product for our brand? My answer would be, I don't know.
So what they can do is they can actually get in contact with you, and you'll be able to go through a little bit of a strategy session, and you come up with some great ideas. Now, once they go through that, they can either use some of the things they got in their back room, or you could possibly help them with that. So is the best way of getting hold of you via email, through the phone, or LinkedIn? What's the best way?
Yeah, I'm happy to LinkedIn with anyone. My name is Steve. You maybe share with the audience, or email me. It's Oksana, OKSANA, at impero.com.au. I do have an Instagram, so if you want to follow and see some ideas on the Instagram, it's Impero by Oksana. If you want to call, but I think email is best, because then we can set up the time that works for both parties.
Terrific, especially with everyone on Zoom these days, and then they can organise a little bit of a chinwag, or even maybe a Zoom. Well, look, we could be talking here for hours, I would say. You've got so many wonderful ideas, so thank you so much for sharing. And guys, I want to make sure you've had your pen out, make sure you've got a strategy, and I strongly recommend, while you've got a little bit extra time, connect with Oksana. I'll put all the details at the bottom, and you can actually have a little bit of an action plan. And let's make this time a time of planning. So there will be a boom after all this is done and dusted. So we've got only 8 weeks to plan. So if you actually were starting your business again, only had 8 weeks to plan it, my goodness, you'd be dashing around everywhere, wouldn't you? But if we've got, you know, a little bit of a different mindset, let's plan for the boom. Guess what? You'll be ready. So Oksana, thanks so much for your time. I know how busy you are. You've interrupted all your booms and conversations. So absolutely precious time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. You know, thank you everyone for listening. I hope it was a value for you guys, and stay healthy and stay safe and look after yourself and your family.
Terrific.
Ciao.
All right, guys. Always got some awesome people, and this woman is actually a great friend, but also she helps me do our stuff as well. Look, action is everything. We say it after every time we have an expert on. Take some action. Get some wipes out in a little mail. Get a Freddo frog, send it out. Do something that's a little bit different. Be front of mind. So with your prospects, with your clients, give out some love. And guys, let's do this. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm Dr. J, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.